Hi guys, hope you're doing well. Currently situation is very despicable, not good, and subservience behaviors are taking place in society, and one of the causes disparity, and disparity is associated with the social stratification. As social stratification is a word which is derived from the Latin language which means stratum, and it's all about the layers, means the division of different resources in societies by the upper, middle, and lower class. But mostly the occupied class is upper class. They hold all of the resources in their hands and they're not giving the rights and justice towards the lower class or middle class people. So I would like to categorize here that social stratification is not good. Although we are calling ourselves that we are homogeneous, but we are not homogeneous. We are heterogeneous. It's all about the power play. You see about the past societies, they were having the quest, conquest, and invading in other societies by power, by their army, by weapons, and they were sabotaging the societies by occupying them and ruling on them under their culture and languages. And we have seen the example in subcontinent society. There's some colonial society known as when the Britishers, sorry, when the Britishers came in the subcontinent area for the trade point of view, and East Indian Company emerged. The subcontinent people were unaware about the bad intentions of Britishers. They entered in that territory, and after that they invaded forcefully, and they occupied each and everything. They captured all of the resources, they captured the political stability in their hands, and then they made the rulers, who were the ruling class, under their subordinates. I may say that they took them as a slave. And later on, you see about that the Mughal empires, they got imprisonment. They got imprisonment, and for years and years, the British ruled over in this area of subcontinent. So we must not forget one thing, that there are some background for all these kind of stuff. Why these things are occurring or happening in this world? Actually, it represents the hierarchy or hierarchical data, like in stratification, like the different layers. As I earlier mentioned to you, that upper class, middle class, and lower class. And further, there are also categorizations in classes. But first of all, I have to tell about that the major cause of stratification, which we see from the ancient time, is based on the caste system. The caste system, which in current society is not acceptable, but at that time it was so flourishing. In Indians, there were a lot of caste system. The topmost were the Brahmins, and they were associated with government, politics, and all power in their own hands, and they were ruling class actually. While the second class were known as Kshatriyas, they were warriors. They were in the battlefield and saving their territory from the outer attacks, and also they were involving in attacking other territories to capture. So third class were known as that Vaishyas. Vaishyas were those people who were associated with the commerce and trade and import and export stuffs. And fourth, they were Shudras. They were associated with common work. They were known as commoners, like labor class. And the fifth class were known as the Dalits. They were so underwater class, means they were unfortunately untouchable, unseenable. They were not able to come in front of the upper class. So these were some class system. It damages a lot the society, and it was based on injustice. It created fuel to the fire, and this is also a huge cause of the stratification. Then there is a class system, and class systems is available in every society. Although we are just emphasizing there must not be a class system, there must be equal rights for everyone. But from thousand and thousand years till date, in the modern country and underdeveloped country, developed country, and third world country, everywhere there's a class system. Most of the people are saying that it's good for the society, and in other hand, the people are saying it's bad for the society. First of all, I would like to tell that why it's good for the society. Most of the Intellectuals, they're saying that if there is no class system, there is no competition. When there is no competition, there is no development. And when there is no development, there is no progress. As Karl Marx mentioned, there are two types of the classes in society. One is bourgeoisie and one is proletariat. As bourgeoisie people are the ruling class, while proletariat people are working class. So this class is condemned by the Karl Marx, and as well as the Max Weber was also the follower of the Karl Marx. He also mentioned that in society there are three things are mostly involved: class, status, party, politics. So these three things are involved. Party is related with the politics, class, status, who are occupying their ruling class, and through all of the world, might is right. You see about that those people who have power in their hands, they are ruling from thousand years to till date. In class system, poor and deprived people are suppressed a lot. They are not provided the basic fundamental needs and wants, whatever they want, such as the good education, health, accommodation, living standards. They need social justice. They want all these things. In class system, there are furthermore categorizations like upper class, upper middle class. Then there comes that middle upper class, middle lower class, and then third is lower class, and that is lower class. I'm so sorry to say, these classes created a lot of hatred among the society, among public, because upper class never think that middle class or lower class can match them, as lower class is not able to even progress in front of the upper class because they are not having the education, they are not having the good school, colleges, universities. They are surviving mode, they are involved into the basic needs of their lives. They are not able to send their children towards the good educational system, as upper class is facilitating a lot the status. They are sending their children to the top-notch school, colleges, universities, where they are occupying, getting a lot of good education system, and direct they are involving into the government, big designations. While the middle class, they are surviving also. They are trying to get also the taste of upper class, but through education they can also achieve their target. Most of the people who are associated or related with the middle class family members or systems, they obtained education, they got education after they enjoyed the status, because after education they got in a good position in the society, but not as top-notch people, but uh, good enough, not that much rewarded. So these are the different class systems, and it's available in every society, and no society is without the class system. Whether it's a third world country, whether it's a top-notch country, whether it's a normal or developed or underdeveloped countries, everywhere as you see about the class system. Then there's a state system, and in state system, you see about that top-notch people. They are having a lot of nobility in society, like they have most facilities in society, and they are known as noble class in society. Then there's a clergy class, and then there's a commoner. You see the feudalism, capitalism, socialism also associated with the state system. And noble family members who are so-called, they are capturing their few families in Pakistan. They were captured the entire political system and hijacked it from years and years. And this is also not a good news for our society. When in that, there's ascribed and achieved status. Scribe people are those who are rewarded, like the caste is basically ascribed, is predefined, while achieved status is that kind of a system that when you are belonging from the lower class system or middle class system, then you work hard, you get education, you change your status in society, and that's known as achieved status. Then there's a slavery system, which is the most oldest system in this world. From the beginning to till this date, we have the slavery system, but there is a lot of difference came over the period, over the time. In ancient time, you see about most of the people, they were spending the slavery life. Just because of that, they were not able to pay their debts, and most of the people, they had very low money. They from years and years, they were under the slavery system. For example, one person was spending the slavery life, and his offsprings and upcoming generation were also spent the slavery life under their masters. They were not able to talk in front of them. They were doing a lot of work. They were often having the punishment, the corporal punishment also, and they were also sellable commodities. Like when they were not good enough for their master, the master were replacing or selling them on another owner. So it was also a huge cause of disparity, and these disparities created most of the differences in between different civilization. Until date, it's happening in the world. Now is a modern form of slavery like this, that third world countries, they are like slaves. Like IMF, the World Bank, they give the loan to underdeveloped countries or third world countries, and then they rule on them, and then they give their policies to them, and they take their work from them like slaves. And also globalization is also a form of slavery, that most of the top-notch countries, they're highlighting that we have the great system of education and economy and political system, and they are showing through their mass medias, electronic medias like movies, periodicals, magazines, internet, computer, their theaters, and highlighting the people that we have the great system of democracy over here. So come and just get a job in our society, in our country. So from third world country and from middle class countries, most of the people, they migrate to there for higher education, for a higher job. Unfortunately, they are not succeeded in their mission because they are not giving them white collar job. They are giving them to the blue collar job. They are not giving to the all good salaries. There's also disparity in their incomes. They are, because those people are migrated and they are compelled whatever the top-notch countries are assigning them, they are doing in the compulsion. And this is also a cause of slavery somehow. The term brain drain is also introduced from it, because resources are less. People are going for the higher resources, good resources, leaving their countries, and there's a trap. And unfortunately, when they enter into that trap, then they will understand, and they cannot tell to their relatives, their family members, and rest part of the world's people, specifically their friends, they are that we are in trap. They hide the news, and they have a lot of loan on them, and but still they are surviving. They're not getting the progress in those countries. So is a issue of brain drain, and this is also associated with that slavery system. So unless we developed ourselves through education, through economy, through culture, through social activities, or through our norms, behaviors, ethics, religion, these practices will make us independent. Like Chinese people are quite independent because they understand their recognition and they work hard, and that's why they are having the economy which is boosting all over the world, and they are unstoppable. So we must be like them. Mostly you see inequality in underdeveloped country, but in developed countries there is no inequality. Mostly that in the United States of America, when the people from all over the world migrate and get the job in a one big organization where a lot of workers are working from rest part of the world's different nationality holders, they're working in the same organization. They walk, they just check about their work. If a person from belonging the African culture, if he is good enough in his job, so he will give a high designation or promote him. Otherwise, they will demotion and depromoting programs for those who are not working, although they're from top-notch countries, but they see about the people work and their tendencies. So that's not creating the inequality, or its elimination of disparity also. We must not exempt the conflict theory and as well as modern theory. Earlier I mentioned that Karl Marx mentioned about two classes, one is bourgeoisie and one is proletariat. So this is war in between them. They are not accepting the upper class, they are not accepting the lower class. There's a dispute, and this dispute is increasing day by day and creating the hatred, and that's why there's an instability in most of the countries, most of the world. So we have to sort it out. And Max Weber also mentioned most of the resources are captured by these elite class family members, and they're not giving the equal distribution of energy, resources, and commerce, trade, finance, education, health, income. or other cultural activities and sociological activities also. Well, in modern theory, it's all about that meritocratic. Meritocratic society is such kind of a society where you see about the merits. In my society, I've seen in government sectors, there are many third class workers. They don't know how to work, how to talk, how to behave, but they're still on a big designations in government sectors. So this is all about the bribe and corruption and recommendation. That's why our society is not progressive. But as compared to Western society and most sectors of the world, we see more that there is a meritocratic society. In modern theory, we also talk about that gender disparities or inequality. Uh, Most of the time, we are addressing on these. Female has to be given equal rights as compared to males because mostly you see, but they at work, they are not given a good salary or income. They are not getting also the good status, and mostly we see about the category which is the glass ceiling effects. Glass ceiling effect means invisible artificial barrier, that they are not giving a lot of progress to females in politics, in work, in job, in culture, in decision. Most of female are not giving equal education, work, health, wealth, and rights of property in maximum part of the world. So in modern theory, we talk and we try to eliminate these kind of the disparities by highlighting the major facts and figures. In modern theory, we also talk about social, economical, and political stability or instability both. We should form or reform our system. We should bring some check and balance rule and regulations. We must aware the people and masses through the electronic media, through print media, through internet, and we must give them the workshops. Once they understand their rights, they can defend themselves, and they will eliminate these kind of disparities. And also, the Damian's approach will be reduced in society. The crimes and injustice will also reduce in society. In modern three also talk about the rural and urbanizations. In rural class, mostly they migrate towards the urban cities for the better opportunity of work, job, living standard, and for this purpose, there's overcrowded cities. And you see about this is also a cause of huge rush and traffic jam. And we talk about in modern theory about these kind of issues as well. Another major point I must elaborate about social mobility. Social mobility means that you convert or you upgrade your status from one status to upward status or another status. So this is all about the social mobility, that you're living in a previous status, now you're changing or upgrading, enhancing your status in more upgraded approach. That's known as social mobility. There are two types of mobility. One is horizontal mobility, one is vertical mobility. In horizontal mobility, you see when there's a teacher or a lawyer or bureaucrat or judge, anyone who is having a job, and when he transfer himself or maybe transferred by his department by government to another state or city or having the same status and job, that's known as the horizontal mobility, because his or her status neither increasing nor decreasing, is remain the same. That's horizontal mobility. As far as the vertical mobility is concerned, it's about the person's status which works on upward or downward status. Like upward will become in that point of view when you get or acquire a good education system by remaining yourself in a middle class system. But after that, your work, your promotion, your job, your income, your status in society will move or upgrade it, and it will be known as upward status. And downward mobility, downward status is known as that kind of status. Maybe that you have a system or good job, but you will be demoted from your job, or you will lose your job. So that's what the downward mobility. Furthermore, the intergeneration and intergeneration also associated with these kind of the mobilities. We cannot exempt the neocolonialism, which is creating a huge impact also, because it's captured the resources of the poor's. Gender discrimination is also a highlighted issue in society, and we must address on it. We must eliminate the stereotype, stereocost. We must not be biased in race, region, ethnicity, custom, traditions, norms, civilization, religion. We must give equal respect to everyone's religion, everyone's culture, because once we understand that education is the only weapon through which we can change this mentality of the people who are having a retarded or backward mentality, and it can create a world a better place to live. The illogical concept must be terminated from society, such as the sexual harassment and sexual assault, sexual abuse, child labor, women discrimination, and human rights violation, honor killing, and there must be human rights advocacy through which they work upon on such issues and terminate such things which are considered to be an evil part of society. So we must free our public from these kind of the disparities, and then social stratification can be easily managed. So I think that's all for this today's lecture of social stratification. Hope you will get some useful ideas or concept, and you can update your mind, and you can just check whether it's working or implementable in your society, or you have to start it from your homes to educate your generation, to your offsprings, to your family members. Hope it will work. So positive. It's a time to sign out. So take care of yourself. May God bless you. Bye bye.